Chu Qing sat in the car, intently observing the Xing family's villa. Although it looked peaceful outside, he clearly sensed a strong force surrounding it and suspected the dense network of cameras everywhere. He continued analyzing. It would not be easy to meet the Xing family members directly. Breaking in required careful preparation. Everything was too vague to act immediately. Chu Qing decided to investigate his sister's boyfriend first to determine his attitude. If the person was like Xing Lai, a powerful and strict figure, he would face difficulties. But if he sided with his sister, Chu Qing could exploit that to change prejudices. While driving on the road, suddenly a Bugatti supercar blocked Chu Qing's car, surprising him. A girl with high-tied purple hair, dressed energetically and stylishly, stepped out of the car. It was Tang Ziyan. Chu Qing exclaimed her name in surprise. Tang Ziyan? He did not expect to meet her here. Tang Ziyan approached suspiciously and asked, "Are you looking for me? How did you know I was here?" Chu Qing responded cheerfully. Tang Ziyan suddenly questioned why he had skipped school for 2 days. Chu Qing replied nonchalantly, "Not feeling well, needed to relax." Tang Ziyan angrily said, "Need 2 days to relax? Are you mad?" Chu Qing remained carefree. "Mad? I have no reason to be mad." Tang Ziyan unexpectedly confessed, thinking Chu Qing was angry because her mother had caused trouble for his parent company. She showed remorse and honesty about her feelings. Chu Qing gently stroked Tang Ziyan's hair, reassuring her that his absence from school was unrelated to her, but he appreciated her caring so much about him. Tang Ziyan frankly replied that she was worried because she was his girlfriend and feared he might be with another girl when she wasn't paying attention. Chu Qing suddenly reacted harshly, affirming that he was not a dog to be controlled like that. Immediately after, Chu Qing changed the subject, asking Tang Ziyan about Meng Zui, the mysterious woman he had recently encountered. Tang Ziyan explained that Meng Zui was a second-tier master among the top 10 masters in Jinmen City, controlling the largest underground transactions. Chu Qing denied any connection to Meng Zui, saying he had only recently heard about her. He asked for more information about the other masters on the list. Tang Ziyan listed. At the top was No Way of the Xing clan, followed by members of the Tang family, including her mother and second aunt, the Yi family, the Li family, and the military escort unit. Chu Qing realized the situation was extremely dangerous. He decided to ask Hua for help gathering more information because she was very skilled with technology. The scene shifted to an apartment where Chu Qing thanked Hua for helping his parent company overcome the crisis. Hua, just out of the shower, wearing a cute nightgown, sat on the sofa smiling brightly, showing friendliness and closeness with Chu Qing. Chu Qing smiled reassuringly at Hua, saying that besides Yi Chengxi, she was still here helping him. The atmosphere between them became warm and intimate. Suddenly, a strong gust shattered the peaceful atmosphere, causing both Chu Qing and Hua to turn around in alarm. From the smoky haze, a familiar figure appeared, Yi Chengxi in a seductive outfit with a cold demeanor, advancing with determination. Yi Chengxi appeared imposing, holding a rifle. Her eyes were cold as if preparing to punish someone. Chu Qing and Hua were shocked to see Yi Chengxi enter the house unexpectedly and armed. He felt the situation was spiraling out of control. Chu Qing tried to calm the situation, suggesting the three of them talk calmly while shielding Hua behind him. Yi Chengxi said nothing, coldly aimed her gun at them and let out a HMPH, signaling her unresolved anger. Immediately after, Yi Chengxi fired, shooting out a strange energy blast shaped like a talisman and lightning. Chu Qing immediately blocked the attack, protecting a panicked Hua behind him. Both were thrown back by the powerful shockwave. Without hesitation, Chu Qing sprang up and charged straight at Yi Chengxi, determined to stop her before things got worse. Chu Qing and Gong Yue struggled over the gun amid a dazzling light, creating a tense atmosphere as if a real fight was about to break out. Chu Qing angrily shouted, questioning Gong Yue for her reckless and illegal act of actually firing the gun. Gong Yue calmly responded, declaring that she not only dared to shoot but could also kill if she wanted, shocking Chu Qing. The girl continued to tease, saying she would not kill him but only shoot through the seed production device so he wouldn't seduce other women. Chu Qing was stunned. Gong Yue posed smugly with the gun, asking Chu Qing if he was satisfied with the requested item and its timely completion. Chu Qing assessed the gun as a good type, suitable for Gong Yue's own level 3 Wangchuan bullets, implying she owned specialized combat weapons. Gong Yue was extremely pleased, showing a satisfied expression, with fox ears and a fox tail symbolizing cunning and victory. Chu Qing reminded her it was late and asked Gong Yue to go home if she didn't want to worry her aunt, while holding the gun tightly. Gong Yue immediately grabbed his hand, coquettishly saying her car was broken so she would stay overnight. If Chu Qing did not object, she would take it as approval. Hua looked at both from behind, bewildered and confused. Her expression was full of confusion mixed with a bit of disappointment. Gong Yue hugged Chu Ching's face tightly, pressing her cheek against his intimately. She smiled brightly and whispered that this was good for her whole family because she was in love. Gong Yue's face briefly changed, her eyes sharp and alert. She glanced seriously to one side, signaling a silent warning. From Gong Yue's perspective, Hua stood alone with a shy posture and sad eyes. The pink-haired girl with twin tails bowed her head, Gong Yue's shadow stretching over her like an invisible oppression. Hua looked up, her face both hurt and confused. Her eyes shone with sadness and questions as she witnessed the intimacy between Gong Yue and Chu Qing. Chu Qing smiled while reassuring the pink-haired girl, Hua, believing that just having her here was enough. He said this with affectionate eyes and obvious happiness. Immediately after, a sudden explosion startled both of them, causing them to look toward the source of the dazzling light in shock. A strange girl in a red coat stepped out through the white smoke, her seductive figure and sharp aura attracting all eyes. The full view of the long, black-haired girl became clear. She wore sexy clothes and held a large rifle. The light and smoke surrounding her made her look like a character from another world. Chu Qing and Hua were stunned when they recognized that woman appearing again, this time armed. He felt the situation was becoming dangerous. Chu Qing tried to stay calm, spreading his arms to protect Hua and suggesting negotiation. Meanwhile, the strange girl coldly raised her gun, ready to act. The strange girl aimed her gun directly at Chu Qing, her eyes cold and sharp, softly uttering HMPH, clearly showing anger but also full control. A beam of light shot straight from the gun to the ground, creating a glowing symbol surrounded by lightning, like a powerful warning strike. Chu Qing immediately shielded Hua from that energy beam, while the pink-haired girl panicked and ducked to avoid it. Refusing to stay still, Chu Qing sprang up and charged at the attacker with determined eyes, ready to counterattack to protect the person beside him. Chu Qing and Hua sat in front of the computer screen, intently following the information. Yi Chengxi suddenly appeared at the door, her face suspicious as she saw the suspiciously quiet scene. Yi Chengxi tried to pretend to care, asking if the two wanted some water. Chu Qing immediately lost his temper, ordering her to leave, which startled Hua. Yi Chengxi plopped down into a chair, crossing her arms in a sulk. She suspected that the two in the room weren't studying at all, but just looking for an excuse to be alone together. Unable to sit still any longer, Yi Chengxi decided to return to Chu Qing's room. However, she still hadn't thought of a reasonable reason to break in again. An idea flashed in Yi Chengxi's mind. She was delighted when she saw a food discount card and considered it the perfect excuse to enter the room again. Meanwhile, Chu Qing and Hua remained focused in front of the computer, analyzing the security system map of the Xing family's house together. A loud sound made both of them jump. They turned around with terrified eyes when they realized Yi Chengxi was approaching. Yi Chengxi appeared proudly, holding a bag of food, as if she had just completed a secret mission. She smirked, firmly convinced in her heart. HMPH dared to lock the door, clearly not studying at all. The door opened, revealing the exact same scene as before. Chu Qing and Hua were still focused on their work. Yi Chengxi stood frozen, her face stiff, still holding the food bag, unsure what to do. Yi Chengxi laughed falsely, holding a box of food, using the excuse of bringing chicken skewers for Chu Qing and Hua, but inside she still doubted whether they were really doing homework. Chu Qing suddenly appeared behind Yi Chengxi, sending chills down her spine. He looked at her with a terrifying gaze, making Yi Chengxi immediately sense danger. Without waiting for Yi Chengxi's reaction, Chu Qing immediately lifted her up while she panicked and begged, "I was wrong, don't kick me out." Chu Qing said nothing, only coldly slapped Yi Chengxi's butt hard, causing her to scream, "Kaya," while still being carried like a sack of goods. Yi Chengxi angrily shouted, "How dare you hit me?" But Chu Qing replied nonchalantly, "If that's not enough, I'll hit you more." Chu Qing took Yi Chengxi to her car, realizing that the car was not broken as she had previously claimed. Without giving her time to resist, Chu Qing pushed Yi Chengxi into the car, ending the punishment with decisive action. With a triumphant smile, Chu Qing concluded, "I think your car is perfectly fine," then turned his back intending to leave. Yi Chengxi sprang up, grabbed Chu Qing's sleeve desperately and shouted, "Don't go." Refusing to be left behind, Yi Chengxi lunged forward and hugged Chu Qing tightly from behind, causing both to fall down, creating a chaotic scene. Chu Qing was pulled by the black-haired girl into the back seat of the car, falling onto the seat with a helpless and stunned expression. He quickly propped himself up, looked at her seriously, and said, "I don't have time to mess around with you, I have important things to do." The black-haired girl suddenly leaned in close and pressed her lips to his, leaving Chu Qing dizzy. A fleeting thought showed he was gradually losing control. A close-up of the girl's determined eyes. In that moment, her initiative caught Chu Qing off guard. Chu Qing immediately pushed her away, trying to keep a safe distance with a mix of embarrassment and awkwardness. Though his face was flushed, Chu Qing still kept his explanation. "I really have something important to do." The girl pulled down his shirt, looked straight into his eyes provocatively. "Are you sure?" Unable to hold back any longer, Chu Ching pinned the girl down. This time he was the one taking control of the situation. He grabbed her hand and smiled slyly. "You're really naughty." His expression completely changed. Seriousness disappeared. Chu Ching held the girl tightly in his arms, tilted his head, and whispered, "You're done for today." The words closed a chaotic and dangerously scented night inside the enclosed car. The long black-haired girl with a mischievous look appeared carrying boxes of food, happily announcing that she had ordered grilled chicken skewers for the group, while secretly doubting whether everyone was really doing their homework. The male lead stood up with an angry glare and a tense aura radiating around him, causing the girl below to break out in a cold sweat from fear. Before she could resist, the male lead decisively slung her over his shoulder. She panicked and begged for forgiveness. "I was wrong, please don't chase me away." The male lead smirked slyly, holding tightly to the struggling girl as he prepared to punish her. The girl struggled angrily and shouted, "How dare you hit me?" But the male lead coldly replied, "If it's not enough, I'll hit you again." After taking her to the parking lot, the male lead looked at the luxury car and bluntly said, "Your car isn't damaged at all." Without any mercy, he pushed the girl into the back seat of the car. She weakly screamed as she fell inside. The male lead tilted his head and gave a cold smile. "I think your car is still fine." The girl still refused to let go, clutching his shirt from inside the car, tears welling up as she pleaded, "Please don't go." Caught off guard, the male lead was pulled back into the car by the girl in a very awkward position, shouting, "Hey!" Chu Ching was stunned when suddenly hit hard on the butt from behind, his face shocked as if struck by lightning. Tang Ziyan winked teasingly, admitting the hit was retaliation because Chu Ching had previously patted her butt. She laughed delightedly, even saying it felt really good. Tang Ziyan approached with sincere eyes, expressing that she liked a different kind of man like Chu Ching. She affirmed she would make him infatuated and chase after her forever. Chu Ching smiled lightly, thinking to himself that now he seemed like a playboy, only causing pain to those who loved him rather than to himself. He stood thoughtfully under the lights, wondering if his current life was becoming surreal. While lost in thought, Chu Ching was called back sharply by his own name. He turned his head, alert. Tang Ziyan stepped out of the car, walking seductively. She smiled and asked him, "Can't you be a good boy?" Chu Ching laughed in response, teasing back with a reversed question. "What about you? Do you want to be a good girl and marry me?" Tang Ziyan laughed, half-jokingly agreeing, but reminded Chu Ching that he was only 17. She was surprised by his maturity beyond his age. Chu Ching immediately retorted, recalling what happened in the car, and asked back if she had considered him a 17-year-old boy then. Tang Ziyan blushed, speechless. Chu Ching laughed and teasingly asked Tang Ziyan, "What dowry do you want?" Tang Ziyan gently tucked her hair back and smiled confidently. She replied, "Then, I want the entire city of Jinmen." Chu Ching raised his hand and laughed loudly, enthusiastically agreeing, "No problem, as long as you keep your word until then." Tang Ziyan stopped and watched Chu Ching walk into the building. Her eyes showed a mix of suspicion and interest. She smiled mockingly and whispered, "Really? Shameless bragging." The scene shifted to a luxurious residential area at night. A tall fence covered with vines created a sense of secrecy and strict security. Chu Ching, now dressed in black tactical gear, had infiltrated the Xing family compound. He listened to signals from his earpiece and received a report from his assistant. "The small building on the left is where Xing Lai's descendants live. I have taken control of all surveillance systems." Elsewhere, Hua sat in front of a computer screen with a serious expression. She instructed through the communication system, "But you still have to be careful." Chu Ching wore a mask and used a communication headset, reassuring Hua that everything was still under control. He approached the Xing family residence, stating he would get close to the person called brother-in-law because of his close relationship with his sister. Chu Ching secretly looked through the glass door and saw a pink-haired woman wearing a mask laughing delightedly, holding a leather whip. He was stunned when he realized that the woman was Xing Yu, the eldest daughter of the Xing family, participating in a strange game with several others. Chu Ching concluded that the ground floor was his sister's room, and the second floor where the brother-in-law stayed would be his next destination. Just as he was climbing the wall, Chu Ching suddenly heard a noise that startled and worried him. From the tree, he observed the entire Xing mansion, determining his next course of action. An elderly woman with silver hair appeared, carrying a tray of food, calm yet full of dignity, walking toward the main house. She cast a sharp glance toward the area where Chu Ching was hiding, her piercing eyes making the atmosphere seem to freeze. The night sky was quiet, with a crescent moon peeking behind the tree canopy. A gentle breeze blew over the old woman's head, as if she sensed something unusual in the darkness. The crescent moon hung suspended in the silent night. From within the bushes, Chu Ching, now masked and armed, quietly sweated. A silent unease flickered in his eyes, signaling impending danger. Chu Ching gripped his gun tightly, eyes fixed through the leaves. He was in a state of high alert, as if sensing something silently watching his every move. Chu Ching stood under the moonlight, directly asking the girl opposite, "What dowry do you want?" His confident eyes and smirking smile showed a gentle challenge. The girl with long black hair, wearing a black lace bra and a red jacket, reached out to brush her hair in a romantic setting, as if about to make an unexpected condition. She smiled seductively, looked straight at Chu Ching and replied, "Then, I want the entire city of Jinmen." Chu Ching remained unshaken, calmly responding, "No problem, but don't go back on your word then." The girl silently stood watching Chu Ching's back as he walked into the building, her eyes full of thought. She chuckled softly, muttering, "So boastful without shame," but her eyes sparkled with a mix of curiosity and amusement. The scene shifted to a luxurious villa surrounded by greenery, the residence of the Exing family. Outside the large gate covered in vines, the atmosphere was silent, signaling a secret mission underway. Chu Ching, dressed for infiltration, sat in ambush. He reported through his earpiece, "The entire surveillance system of the Exing house is temporarily under control." At the other end, Hua, a girl with pink hair tied on both sides, was monitoring via computer, reminding him, "But you still have to be careful." Chu Ching gently placed his hand on the doorknob, used internal energy to unlock it, and entered his sister's lover's room. Inside the room, a gray-brown-haired young man lay quietly on the bed, holding his phone. He had no appetite, only wanting to see Chu Xiao again. Chu Ching appeared behind him in a cold aura, his face hidden behind a fierce mask that terrified the other. The young man startled and screamed loudly, dropping his phone in shock at the sudden image. Chu Ching quickly covered his mouth to stop any noise that could reveal their location. With a serious look, Chu Ching hurriedly reassured him, "Don't scream, I am Chu Ching, Chu Xiao's brother." The young man immediately grabbed Chu Ching's hand, anxiously asking about Chu Xiao's condition, the girl he always cared deeply about. Chu Ching asked seriously, "Do you know what happened to my sister?" The young man burst into tears, blaming himself for causing trouble and being the reason Chu Xiao got into danger. Chu Ching tried to comfort him, revealing a shocking truth. "Your mother wanted to kill Chu Xiao. Luckily, I saved her in time." The ash-gray-haired young man sat on the bed with tears in his eyes, recounting the reason Chu Xiao was in danger. His mother forced her to marry Tang Zian against her will, just for the Exing family's benefit. Chu Ching was startled upon hearing the name Tang Zian. He understood that if his sister and this person became enemies, the consequences would be severe. In his mind, Tang Yan was his woman. The gray-haired student suddenly asked Chu Ching if it was Chu Xiao who asked him to come to save him. He hurriedly packed his things, intending to escape immediately. Chu Ching stopped him from leaving, clearly stating that tonight's goal was to meet his mother to mediate peace. The gray-haired student responded disappointedly. He believed his mother would not listen to anyone, especially Chu Ching, whom she never respected. Chu Ching firmly rebutted. He asked him to stall Exing Wei while he handled everything else. The gray-haired student appeared worried, saying he was currently under house arrest and had no freedom to meet Exing Wei. Chu Ching came up with a plan. He could pretend to want to commit suicide and scream loudly. Exing Wei would surely appear. The gray-haired student immediately agreed, even excitedly making lewd remarks that stunned Chu Ching. He emphasized he would let Exing Wei sleep with him all night. Shortly after, Chu Ching quietly left the room, landed softly on the ground, preparing to confront the powerful woman behind everything. Chu Ching silently watched through the frosted glass of the bathroom, where a woman was relaxing under the shower. In his mind, he calculated that having an extra backup card was always a safe choice. The bathroom glass door opened, revealing wet feet stepping out, signaling that the person inside was about to appear. A woman with long pink hair, wrapped in a white towel, stepped out through the misty steam. Her seductive figure and smooth white skin shimmered brightly. She suddenly noticed someone in the room, her expression slightly surprised but not frightened. Chu Ching sat waiting on the bed, wearing a scary mask. He remained calm, facing directly the woman who just came out of the bathroom. The woman was not panicked but seemed amused. Chu Ching thought to himself, is she not scared? Could it be that the game between men and women is an everyday thing for her? Without hesitation, the woman walked straight to the bed and sat on Chu Ching's lap. He couldn't help but feel extremely embarrassed and surprised. The girl teasingly asked, "Are you new from the Li family? What's with that mask?" making Chu Ching even more flustered. "Does she think I'm a gigolo?" Without hesitation, she lifted Chu Ching's face, caressed the mask, and said excitedly, "This style is really unique." The woman took the initiative to kiss Chu Ching on the lips and said, "I like this style." The unexpected kiss left him no time to react. Chu Ching silently observed through the frosted glass of the bathroom, where a pink-haired girl was bathing, causing him to feel a bit surprised and contemplative. One more card won't hurt. The girl stepped barefoot out of the bathroom, the floor wet, completely unaware that someone was watching. The pink-haired girl appeared fully wrapped in a towel. Her seductive figure and confident walk made the atmosphere hazy and ambiguous. Suddenly, the girl noticed something unusual when she looked toward the bed, where a stranger was sitting and waiting. Chu Qing was wearing a mask and quietly sitting on the bed. The girl turned her back to look, her face showing astonishment. Without any fear, the girl appeared charming and amused, approaching with a smile full of hidden meaning. Chu Qing was stunned by her overly professional reaction. The girl moved close to Chu Qing, sat on his lap and pressed her body against him, leaving him no time to react. She teased, asking if he was the new person in the Li family and was curious about the mask. Chu Qing muttered, "Does she think I'm a night service boy?" Unhesitatingly, the girl pressed her face close, placed her hand on Chu Qing's cheek, grabbed the mask, preparing to kiss. In a moment full of surprise, she took the initiative to kiss Chu Qing and exclaimed, "I like it this way." Madame Xing frowned, sensing something unusual behind the closed door. She turned coldly, asked in a harsh tone, "Who is it?" her sharp eyes clearly showing caution. The doorknob quietly turned. The room was silent but tense, signaling an uninvited guest was arriving. Chu Qing, wearing a jagged mask and carrying a gun, entered like a ghost in the night. Madame Xing was not panicked. She calmly set a condition. If he left immediately, she would pretend she never saw him. Chu Qing stood facing her, showing no sign of being intimidated by power or threats. He sat down, coldly replied, "Once here, how can I retreat easily?" Madame Xing laughed sarcastically. "Causing trouble just after meeting Tower. Did you come because of Chu Xiao?" Chu Qing straightforwardly proposed, "I want you to agree to let your son marry Chu Xiao." Her smile turned cold. "Who is Chu Xiao to demand marrying my son, based on a mediocre family background, or relying on someone like you who hides his true nature?" Chu Qing slowly removed the terrifying fang mask, revealing his truly cold and calm face. Madame Xing was shocked when she recognized the real identity of the intruder, Chu Qing, Chu Xiao's older brother. She curled her lips in anger upon learning Chu Xiao was still alive, and was furious that Meng Zui dared to defy her orders. Chu Qing smiled sarcastically. If Meng Zui had released Chu Xiao earlier, he wouldn't have needed to come here. On the contrary, he suggested she teach Meng Zui a deep lesson. Madame Xing suspected that Chu Qing was deliberately provoking her to act as a borrowed knife to kill someone. Chu Qing skillfully denied, saying he only came to beg for one thing, to free his sister. Madame Xing squinted mockingly, thinking Chu Qing believed himself invincible just because he possessed third-level Vong Zion bullets. Chu Qing was surprised to be read so accurately, his eyes wary of the opponent's sharpness. Without hesitation, Chu Qing acted first, drawing his gun and aiming straight at Madame Xing, his face tense and sweating, showing the immense pressure weighing on him when confronting such a powerful figure. Xing Lai leapt from above, rushing toward Chu Qing with terrifying strength. Before Chu Qing could react, he felt a relentless killing intent. Xing Lai's speed blurred everything around. Chu Qing could only exclaim in his mind in astonishment, "She's too fast." Unable to defend in time, Chu Qing was violently thrown into the bookshelf. The fierce impact caused a loud explosion, dust flying everywhere. Amid the thick smoke, Chu Qing groaned. He tried to get up but was clearly seriously injured from the unexpected blow. He coughed up blood, clutching his chest as he struggled to stand. The red blood soaked through his black sleeve, proving the wound was severe. Chu Qing was stunned to realize Xing Lai, whom he once thought was just a civilian official, was actually a top martial artist, surpassing even the leading masters. While he was still dazed, Xing Lai calmly removed her glasses, full of confidence and arrogance. That attitude showed her absolute dominance. Xing Lai sat cross-legged with authority, her cold eyes looking down. In her hand was Chu Qing's gun, now disabled. She sarcastically said, "A broken gun and you want to save your sister." Chu Qing wiped blood from the corner of his mouth, his gaze resolute. He smiled faintly. "I was careless, but it's still too early to decide who wins or loses." Xing Lai narrowed her eyes, holding a card with hidden meaning. She said bluntly, "If you have any other cards, show them. If your family had half the power of the Tang family, marrying your sister to Tower wouldn't be bad." Xing Lai was shocked when she sensed something unusual from Chu Qing. She discovered the special-grade Vong Zion bullet engraved with characters, the symbol of the Gong clan, something that cannot be forged. With a suspicious look, Xing Lai questioned Chu Qing whether he was the secret son of the Gong clan. Chu Qing calmly replied that he was not a member of the Gong family, but was betrothed to that clan. Xing Lai doubted and coldly asked, "How do you intend to prove it?" Chu Qing repeated Xing Lai's own words, that if his family had half the foundation of the Tang family, she would approve his sister's marriage. Chu Qing took out a scroll of formal documents and confidently asked, "Is this enough?" In his heart, Chu Qing silently thanked Gong Yue for helping revise and hand over the official marriage contract, the decisive card in this game. Xing Lai carefully read every line in the scroll, her expression gradually becoming serious. She was stunned, unable to hide her astonishment and confusion. Clearly, the document Chu Qing presented was irrefutable evidence.